Hi, we are back today talking more about our Answers for Women 2018 conference, Life, Contending for Life from Beginning to End. And joining me today is another one of our speakers, Stacia McKeever. And Stacia worked for Answers in Genesis for 11 years, working a lot on writing curriculum and articles and things like that. And then she left Answers in Genesis, quote unquote, to become a stay-at-home mom to her two boys, Kieran and Kale. And she currently works as the VBS manager. Is that what you are? Okay, so she's the VBS manager for Answers in Genesis. So she technically hasn't left then. She's still working for us. And she is the author of Why is Keiko Sick? And then the Answers for Kids Bible curriculum, which some of you may have used, and she's contributed many other articles and chapters for books and things over the years. And Stacia and I have worked together a lot over the past several years. If you've been to the Answers for Women's conferences in the past, you can thank her for helping make them so great because she helps me brainstorm a lot for those. We work together on VBS at our local church and just have become really great friends over the years. Our children consider each other siblings basically now, so it's a really great relationship that I've had the privilege of developing with her. And so she spoke at 2 of the past women's conferences, and so she's back again this year, which we're really excited about. And the title of her talk this year is Speak Life, Ensuring Our Words Match Our Beliefs. And so why don't you give us a little bit of background on why you wanted to present on this topic, and how does it relate to the conference theme of contending for life?
Okay. So one of the things that as I've been, our oldest son has a genetic disorder. He was born with a genetic disorder. He has intellectual disabilities, he has some physical disabilities, and as I've been in the disability community for the past 9 years, there are phrases that I've heard, phrases that people say, and even just in the population in general, that we say that don't necessarily reflect a life-giving worldview. So even though we might say that we're pro-life, if we use phrases like, and I'll just throw this one out, it's kind of a silly one, but it reflects what we actually believe. If you say someone is a mother-to-be, if you say a pregnant woman is a mother-to-be, she's not. She is a mother. She's not going to be a mother. She's a mother right now. And we need to let that reflect, let our words reflect what we actually believe about life. So in my talk, I'll be talking about different phrases like that we say that, maybe we haven't thought through or we haven't thought about before in that particular way, just to kind of give us an idea. And you know that I like words. I like big words. I like small words.
She's the grammar queen.
Yeah, I enjoy words, and so I don't want to turn it into like a PC word police kind of thing. But I do think Jesus says that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so, if we're truly pro-life, our words should reflect a pro-life worldview.
I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about your presentation, and he said he remembered a clip from a movie. I think it was Father of the Bride, must have been part 2 or something, and he said, the doctor said, you're about to become a father. And he said, I thought, no, he's already a father. I mean, the child's going to physically be in his arms now, but he's already a father. And so it's little things like that. But I think especially even our children, when they're hearing us talk about these things, they pick up on things a lot faster and a lot better probably than we do. We know what we mean, but are we really saying what we mean?
Right.
And
right.
so...
Right.
So you talked a little bit about how this topic is personal for you because you have a son with disability. So have you run into a lot, I guess, of those kinds of things with Kieran, and things that people say that you wish, I wish they would have thought about that a little bit more? Yeah,
there's even words like retard or idiot or moron. Those aren't life-affirming words. They're derogatory words.
Right.
And we shouldn't apply them to anyone made in God's image. It refers to someone who in the past has been labeled mentally retarded, but it's become a derogatory word, and we shouldn't apply derogatory words to anyone made in God's image, because the way that we talk to someone reflects the way we feel about their creator. So excuse me, if I call someone a name, I'm in essence calling their creator that name or saying that about their creator. And so, yeah, words like that have taken on a new meaning, I think, to me. You know, it's easy to say, oh, you know, it's just a word, it doesn't really matter. But I think we really need to think through what we're saying and how we're using these words.
Well, I think too, like, I've done a lot of study on the eugenics movement, and in the past, like when early 1900s, those words like moron and idiot, that's exactly who they applied to people with disabilities. And there were moron scales and there were imbecile scales, and I mean, that's how people were ranked, so to speak. So we really do. And I think, you know, even too, we have to remember that we're talking about fellow image bearers. Now, I know, like, for me personally, when I'm driving and I get upset at the person in front of me, and it's easy to want to say, oh, that idiot, you know, but I think, wait a minute, that's an image bearer. Like, even though they may not be doing something smart on the road, they're still an image bearer, and I don't have a right to call them a fellow image bearer that.
Right, yeah. So there's things like that. There's also a lot of times when a woman is pregnant, you ask her, oh, are you having a boy or a girl? And a lot of times the answer is, I don't care as long as it's healthy.
Right?
What's the opposite of it not being healthy? You know, what happens if your baby isn't healthy? Or if you have a baby with a disability? That's not necessarily a life-affirming thing. You know, it sounds easy to say, but we really need to accept whoever God brings into our life, you know, whatever baby God gives us. And if it is a baby with a disability, our words just need to reflect that we're willing to embrace that baby, whoever it is, whoever that baby is.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's really important, you know, even when we think about the image of God and what it means to be God's image bearers on earth. Because I was watching a presentation recently, and I started to be bothered by a lot of the terminology that they were using in relationship. Well, you know, you have to do this to be a complete person. And I thought, wait a minute, but there's some people that what they were talking about, there's no way that they could ever do that. And so are you saying they're an incomplete person because they can't, you know, I mean, these were Christians that were talking. So I'm like, so by inference then, you're incomplete if you can't do this. And that's not what image bearing is about. You know, it's not, I mean, yes, there are certain things we do as image bearers. I'm not saying that, but even if they can't do this, because they are made in the image of God from fertilization, that's why life is precious. Right. That's why life is valuable. It's not about what you do. Right. It's about who you are. Right. And I think that's something that we need to really watch.
Yeah, we need to be careful. There's within the disability community, there's an argument that goes, well, this baby's life is valuable. Just look at how much of a blessing they've been to us. Look at how much they contribute to society. And while that's true, I mean, I would say that our son is definitely a blessing to us. He's a blessing to everyone that he meets. He's very joyful. He's funny. You know, he likes to engage people. But that's not what gives his life value. Because when you look back, like you were talking about the eugenics movement, Hitler's whole idea was you work, you contribute to society. If you don't work, you're out of here. Right. Essentially, he had a black triangle that marked the people that weren't able to contribute to society, and those were the people that were done away with. And so I think we really need to be careful about how we phrase our life arguments so that they're truly biblical, and so that we're able to say his life has value because he's made in the image of God, period. That's what gives his life value. Now, can he contribute to society? Sure. But there are other more severely disabled people that can't. But their life is still valuable because they're made in the image of God.
Yeah, we don't want to use utilitarian arguments. Right. You know, that's what I mean, a lot of the pro-choice, you know, side is using those types of arguments. But if, you know, to argue for abortion, if we're using the same kind of arguments to argue against, then it's just opinion versus opinion. It's not really based in the truth of God's word. As that's where we find our value, is because we're image bearers. So, okay. So one of the things that we always, I always try to make sure, you know, with all of the speakers is that it's very practical, you know. So are you going to share some practical things that we can do to speak life?
Yeah, I mean, I just would like to run through a lot of words and phrases that we do. We've talked about some of them, but just kind of expanding on that and just giving a lot of things to think about. And like I said, I don't want to turn it into a PC thing where we're policing people's words and, you know, not showing grace and stuff like that. But I do just want to encourage people to think about what they're saying and to make sure that they're really speaking life in a biblical way.
Yeah. Great, great. Well, I'm looking forward to this. I always look forward to when Stacia speaks. She doesn't think of herself as much of as a speaker, but she's an amazing speaker because she really shares from her heart, and that passion comes through. And so you'll definitely want to see that. And so just by way of reminder, it is April 6th and 7th of this year, so just a few months away. Our early bird deadline is coming up February 1st, so you want to make sure that you register before then. And don't forget too, you get free admission to the Creation Museum and the Ark, and 20% off for your family. So it's a great way to have the whole family come and get some really good teaching time for yourself. And I look at this too. You know, we both have children, and while that we could be equipping the next generation, so we don't have to have talks on this, so that they are equipped and they know how to speak life. And so you can go again to answersforwomen.org to register, and we hope to see you there.